I'm with you.
Oh, I was going to say, no, not me. I mean, I'm nearly as tall as Donna, so I can't be short.
Which one do you want to get on?
I'm gonna get on this one.
I'll just pick one and let's go.
Thank you.
Come on, Troy. Yep. Come on, Troy.
Yeah, I think I need to be forward at least a row or two.
Nope, we're pretty light this morning.
No, I was trying to tell Mother. She gets warm.
Well, that horn does mean we're going to get started, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard the Pass Yukon Railroad. I do want to thank you for joining us today on our summit excursion. We are going to be making the journey up 20.4 miles of narrow gauge rail to the summit of the White Pass Trail at an elevation of almost 3,000 feet. Along the way, we will enjoy the scenic mountain terrain and learn some of the rich history that brought men and women to this area. Now, before we get too far, I did want to take this opportunity to introduce you to our excellent training crew. In charge of our train today is conductor Joe Rao. Assisting him is brakewoman Lindsay Breen. Driving today is a man we won't see much of up there in those green and yellow engines, and that is engineer Ryan Ellis. My name is Jake, and I'm going to be your narrator for the day. And I'm joined by one other excellent guide, who is Bree, and she will be coming through your cars shortly to introduce herself if she hasn't done so already. I do want to cover a few of our safety guidelines for our journey today. Now, these instructions can be found in the front of your All Aboard magazine in several different languages. First, there is no crossing from car to car. The cars are connected by a thin metal bridge called an apron. This apron moves freely with the motion of the train, so please do not stand on it and do watch your feet around it. However, a little later on in our journey today, you will be allowed out to those exterior platforms at the front or rear of your coach. Anyone under the age of 16 must be accompanied by a responsible adult. Again, please do remain inside for now and seated until I let you know that I have gotten the all clear from our conductor for you to head out to those exterior platforms. Now, when you are moving about the coach car, please make sure to hold on, as there may be some bumps and jumps. These are perfectly normal, but I do want you to take extra care to not put your hands or fingers in the door or window frames, as those can close unexpectedly with the motion of the train, and we don't want your fingers getting pinched. Now, there are stoves in each of your cars, and if you are too warm or too cold, please do not attempt to adjust them yourselves. Instead, let one of us know, and we will get that taken care of for you. There's no consumption of alcohol aboard our train today. If you have some of that, go ahead and put a lid on it and save it for me later in Skagway. And finally, folks, there is absolutely no smoking aboard the train today. This includes cigarettes, cigars, e-cigs, and vaporizers, whether we are moving or stopped, inside or out. Now, if we see smoke, we will have to assume you're on fire, and we'll take all of the necessary steps to put you out. Now, that's it for my safety announcement. Please let one of our crew members know if you have any questions about our safety guidelines. A final bit of business today, folks. When we reach the summit, we are going to be crossing into Canada, but only briefly, and we won't be exiting need your passports. Finally, for those of you who may be worried about which side of the train to sit on, I promise you there is no need for that. But for now, you'll have to take my word on that, as we will cover it more later in our journey today. Now this time I'm going to set down the mic for a minute and give Bree a chance to come through and introduce herself and point out some of the amenities on board, and I'll hop back on in just a few minutes.
How are we doing this morning, folks?
Great.
Wonderful. My name is Bree. You'll see me a couple times on our tour today, so if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. We do have water. It is located right up here. Please help yourself to as many as you may need. If you do need to use the restroom, it is in the back. It is a pump system. It's pumped a couple times. Everything should work just fine. Now, if you flip all the way to the very back of that All Aboard magazine that was on your seat, a rail map will unfold and you can follow along on our journey today. Then you have more liquid groceries. If anybody does need one as I'm walking through, please just let me know. I would be more than happy to drop one off for you folks. And when we get to the summit, since there is not very many of you in here, you will not need to do the seat exchange. You'll just need to flip your seat so you can stay on that side with the same views down. Or if you want to sit on this side, you're more than welcome to, but you will not need to exchange seats as there is no one sitting across from you. So just a little heads up. But again, my name is Bree. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Other than that, sit back, relax, and enjoy the views today, folks. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. Good morning. Good morning.
Our fleet here at White Pass consists of 83 passenger coaches and 19 diesel-electric engines. Our passenger coaches are a mix of vintage and modern, with one of the oldest being the Lake Emerald, which was built in 1883 and purchased by White Pass in 1927. All of the passenger cars are named for the lakes and rivers that dot Alaska and northwest Canada. Coming up on our left-hand side, you'll see a large red building. This large red building is our repair shop where our in-house maintenance is done. You can see our logo on the front. Now these shops do run 24/7 to keep our fleet in top shape. This red shop is also a good example of the sites I'll be pointing out along the way. I will be pointing them out with plenty of time for the front of the train to get ready, so if you are at the middle or back, it may take just a moment until that site becomes visible for you.
Houses above the hill. Houses.
Approaching on the right is Skagway's Gold Rush Cemetery. Buried here are a number of famous and infamous members of Skagway's rich history. Perhaps the most famous are Frank Reed and Jefferson Soapy Smith. Soapy was the recognized leader of Skagway's criminal operations, and there were very few who could oppose him. But Michael J. Heaney, one of the driving forces behind the railroad, did just that in 1898. You see, Heaney oversaw construction of the railroad, and he didn't allow liquor or gambling in any of his workers' camps. This made it difficult for Soapy to scheme the money away from those workers, so he sent one of his men to set up a tent just outside of Camp 3, which is near Rocky Point, one of our milestones later today. When Heaney told the man to leave, but he was refused, he turned to his construction foreman, Hugh Foy, and pointed to a large boulder above the thug's tent. He ordered Foy to blow that rock out of here by morning. Well, close to 5 a.m. the next morning, Foy and his crew laid the explosives under the rock and told the man again to leave. Soapy's man, who was still in his bedroll, refused. Pointing to his watch, Foy told the man that in 1 minute he would give the order to blow the rock, and 1 minute after that, the fuse would reach the blasting powder. Still, the man refused. So Foy gave the order and retreated to safety. Seconds later, he was joined by Soapy's man, who was still in his underwear, and they stood together as the tent full of liquor was crushed. That was the last time that Soapy tried to bother Heaney or the men of the White Pass Railroad. Now this time, folks, I have gotten the all clear from our conductor. You are free to head out to those exterior platforms if you would like to do so. But it is important important to remember our safety procedures. Anyone under the age of 16 must be accompanied by an adult at all times. There's no smoking inside or out, moving or stopped, and there is no crossing from car to car.